Hi, my name is Mando, and weapons are a part of my religion. Sometimes we use training blasters that fire foam projectiles, and friends, it has been a long month for Mando. It's definitely been the longest month of the year for me, and I knew ahead of time I wasn't going to have time to get to any YouTube content creation, but that doesn't mean that I didn't have time to get to the foam workshop. So taking a look at the armory, what might be new since the last time we've been here, we've got a 3D printed Corsair. We've got a Mark 28 knockout kit. I did a paint job on my Elite Ultra 2. And then we've got this. I'm calling it the Doom Cannon. It's essentially a Fallout inspired 12 volt rival hand cannon. It's the first mod I've done that I'm a little bit afraid of. If you'd like to see a more in-depth video on this mod, talking about what all brought it together, feel free to comment down below. But in the meanwhile, it's been a project long overdue, I'll say that much. On a bit of a different wavelength creativity-wise, I've also been up to something else. Mrs. Mando was kind enough to gift me a sewing machine, and while I've been really eager to get going on my flight suit and my full armor build, I thought it would be prudent to start with some smaller projects. So what I did is went ahead and built some new tactical gear. I started by buying a belt on Amazon, built a couple of holsters and some mag pouches, and so far it's turned out pretty well. So let's see how it looks. Not bad, the fit and feel is good. I've got a holster for the Nightingale as well as a couple of mag pouches that'll also hold talons. I've got a holster for the Outlaw, works well, nice and smooth, as well as a larger pouch for full-size dart mags and a little grenade pouch that also holds the Outlaw cylinders nicely. It's been a really fun process for me, and sharing these with my friends, the feedback's been pretty positive as well. I've already got a few people asking to purchase some, but I think for now what I'm going to do is continue to work on my set to perfect the process, both as far as design and as far as choosing the right materials for what's going to be appropriate, giving it some battle testing, make sure it's good before I hand it out. I think that's going to be the best plan going forward. And then from there, if the feedback is good and people are interested in some brightly colored tactical gear that you can't find in any other colors, maybe I'll throw together an Etsy store. As far as what's next for Mando, I think I'm going to copy the design of this belt, make myself a bandolier so that I can go ahead and stack more pouches. Keep working on them, and like I said, perfect the design, and hopefully it'll all work out well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In other Nerf-related news over the last month, it's sad to see that we've lost a few more Nerf tubers, including one of my favorites, American Foam. Brad at American Foam is a really cool guy and had a lot of great content. I spent many a long nights up late, maybe avoiding sleep, maybe skipping sleep, just to binge watch his content. His stuff will definitely be missed, and while I'm sad to see him go, I also understand the need for creative change. In fact, if it weren't for that need for creative change, I would never have started this channel myself. So on the same page, I feel like I can relate to where he's coming from. So as sad as I am for the loss of the channel, I'm really happy for Brad himself and that he's able to recognize that and make those positive steps forward. I can't just wait to see what he comes up with next. But like I say, he will be missed. And in thinking about what Brad said, even as early as this channel is in its growth and as young as I am to YouTube, I already see the episodic nature of yet another Hasbro 6-volt system that you know how it's going to perform before you open it. I understand where he's coming from. So on that note, I thought today we'd take a look at something different. Nerf Double Punch. And while some may argue that this is just another Strife clone, and I'm not going to argue against that, it definitely brings some new things to the table that we either haven't seen before or haven't seen from Nerf or whatever. We've obviously got the binary trigger as a new thing. We've seen alternating barrels before in things like the Rhino Fire, but this is a much more compact CQB package with both magazines coming out parallel, and it's definitely a different experience than the Rhino Fire. We'll see how it performs out of the box. Taking a look at the box itself, my first initial thoughts is if, like me, you're a Beret fan, you might fondly remember when Beret once took to war a new in-box Strife, still in the box, and played an entire Nerf war in it and filmed it and put it out for us, and I thought that was fantastic. So my thoughts were, as a version 2 of that, this could work pretty well. If you cut a little bit for the magazines and maybe a battery door in the back, you've got a nice little package here. Shield, blaster, you're good to go. So Beret, if you happen to be watching, I know you're not, but if you maybe are happen to be watching, version 2, you heard it here, let's do it, it'd be awesome. Taking a look at the box, we can see that it's advertised to come with 50 darts. It's got the motorized barrels with alternating fire. It does advertise plastic-free packaging. I guess they aren't counting the plastic tape that it's covered with, but we can see that it's held down with fabric bindings. So let's go ahead and grab some clippers and open that up and see what we think in hand. That should just pop right out. Okay. You know what? Despite that small stock, I actually really like how this feels. The foregrip is comfortable. The paddle release for the magazines is just where you'd want it. The rev trigger feels good. The grip is actually comfortable. And in talking about grips, when I say a grip is comfortable, I've got large hands, so keep that in mind. If you're a smaller person and you're watching this and I say a grip is comfortable, it might not be comfortable for you. So I'm more of a, it's comfortable for larger handed people. You know, like most of these, actually, that rest position is great. I really like how this feels. The trigger feels like it's going to be a fairly long pull, but it would have to be because of the binary action. Taking a look inside, we can see that it is a mechanical action alternating these barrels, and that's really nice because we wouldn't want that pulling any strain from the motors. We want the motors going to the flywheels. Looking at the motors themselves through this nice transparent piece, it looks like it is 2 motors for extra large wheels, although it's hard to say. I definitely plan on opening this up. I do also really like the faded paint scheme they've done. I'm probably long-term gonna want to paint this, but I might leave this part as it is and just paint some of the other areas. Obviously not the painted transparent pieces. We love you, Coop. But you know, maybe the other stuff make this look good. But overall, this is a very comfortable package. I have to say I'm impressed. Let's go ahead and throw some batteries in this and see what we think of the performance. Okay, we've gone ahead and thrown in 4 trusty Kirkland AA's. I've loaded up just for fun 1 mag with fairly new X-Shot hybrid waffle darts, and the other mag with some fairly well-used Adventure Force waffles. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to give this full opportunity to rev up, and honestly, you know, expect what we're going to expect from a 6-volt system. All right. Sounds about right. Not bad at all. Like other reviewers have noted, that second shot was actually just as snappy. I don't know what they're doing with those wheels. I was worried the first on the pull, the first shot would be good, but then on the release, the second shot would suffer. But they're both pretty good. Why don't we set up the range and see how we do for accuracy? And we're here at the range with the Nerf Double Punch. We've got the same loadout as before. We're going to back up to our usual 20 feet and see how we do. Giving full time for rev up. Not bad at all. Let's head outside to the chronograph and see what the numbers say. Wrapping up with my final thoughts on this blaster, I think this is a really positive step in the right direction from Hasbro. Even though it is another 6-volt system, it does do something new with that binary trigger, and it does it really well. The performance is good, the second shot is just as snappy as the first, and those chronograph numbers were maybe a little bit higher than I was expecting them to be. I'm quite happy with this blaster overall. It was released this year originally for 50 Canadian dollars, and it was on my radar at this point, but now it's been price dropped at Walmart and a number of other locations to 30 Canadian dollars, and at that point it was a must-buy for our club. I'm really happy with it. It could go a few different directions. We could do a $5 mod and try and get a 9-volt pack into here, or we could go full Monty, give it new motors, give it a 2S or 3S lipo, some paint, and give it a spot on the armory wall. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like today's content, feel free to hit like, and if you'd like to see more, feel free to subscribe as well. That's all for today, folks. This is FoaMando signing off, and as always, good hunting, foam is the way.